Let's do this! Yes, my friends, it's officially a summer movie season, and to kick things off, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So Volume 2 is a sequel to the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie that was released in 2014, and was part of Marvel's Phase 2 of movies, and once again, is directed by James Gunn. In the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, the Marvel Cinematic Universe was expanded further, and we got introduced to these new intergalactic characters that were lesser known to the mainstream audience. And in Volume 2, we get to dive into more of what makes these characters tick. So when we last left off with our band of lovable misfits, they just defeated Ronan holding an Infinity Stone, and were on their way to new space adventures. And in Volume 2, it appears that a couple years have passed and the crew have become a pretty tight-knit group. Their missions and adventures have become well-renowned throughout the universe, and they are now officially known as the Guardians of the Galaxy. The movie starts off with the group fighting this giant octopus monster that reminded me of Shuma Gorath from Capcom's Marvel Superheroes, which they were hired to do so by this alien race of super anal gold people to protect some of their important property. After completing the job, they run into Kurt Russell's character, who got word of an Earthling who managed to palm an Infinity Stone and has been searching for Star-Lord for a very long time. It's then revealed that he has information on Star-Lord's heritage, and after being invited to join him on his home planet, Peter Quill agrees to accompany Kurt Russell to find out more about his special heritage. Although the movie is heavily focused on Peter Quill and his backstory, a lot of other characters in the movie also get some shine. Gamora and Nebula are sisters who are raised by Thanos, and their sibling rivalry is explored even further in Volume 2. You get to learn about their pretty messed up upbringing, and find out more about Nebula's backstory, which is pretty tragic and heartbreaking, and it actually makes Nebula into a more sympathetic character than how she was viewed in the first Guardians movie. In the first Guardians movie, Drax was a stoic, stern, badass character who was out for revenge for the death of his wife and daughter, and was incapable of understanding symbolism, and in Volume 2, he appears to have done a complete 180. It seems that Drax has finally developed a sense of humor after spending all this time with Star-Lord and company, because he definitely plays a lot of practical jokes on the crew and almost appears dickish, especially to Mantis, who is this empathic alien that is an assistant to Kurt Russell's character. Groot also returns in Volume 2 in baby form and is adorable as ever. I mean, look at him. How could you not love this little twig? In addition to having the body of an infant, Groot also has the mind of one as well. He's basically a baby that the crew has to constantly look after, and has a bunch of scenes that make you go, aww. He's pretty much in this movie to act cute and sell a bunch of merchandise. Besides Star-Lord, the character of Yondu is also heavily focused on. You get to find out more of what happened after he abducted Peter Quill from Earth when he was a kid, and the relationship between him and Quill is explored even further in this movie. Yondu is also paired with Rocket in this film, and I must say, they make a pretty good duo. There's also a pretty emotional scene between them where Rocket's personality traits are explored that I thought was pretty touching, and Michael Rooker delivers a pretty amazing performance as Yondu in Volume 2. I also really like the visuals and music in this movie. Once again, they implemented a pretty good soundtrack that fits the film well, and the art direction, set design, and visual effects are pretty trippy and colorful. It's almost like they opened a giant bag of Skittles and threw it on the screen, because you'll definitely taste a rainbow while watching Volume 2. It seems that everything we loved about the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie returns in Volume 2, and is multiplied by 10. And sometimes, that isn't always a good thing. The first Guardians of the Galaxy is known for its humor and hilarious banter between the crew. And in Volume 2, you get more of that. Much, much more of that. In fact, so much so that it almost seems forced. Although there are some jokes and gags in the movie that were quite funny, there were also a lot of jokes that weren't funny at all. The humor in this film was either hit or miss with me, and I felt that they were just trying way too hard to make the audience laugh. Especially with Drax's character, who burst out laughing so many times in this movie that it felt so disingenuous. There was also humor injected into the more serious and emotional scenes that I felt was a little bit weird. Sometimes less is more, and I felt that Volume 2 should have adopted this philosophy, because they just went absolutely overboard with the gags and comedy in this movie that mostly didn't work. I also hated the gold people in this movie. They didn't really do much throughout the movie other than playing a major part in the post-credits scene. I mean, their arcade cabinet-controlled fleet of gold ships were pretty cool, but they could have been left out of the movie entirely and it wouldn't have hurt the film. To be honest, I was expecting Volume 2 to be no more than a glorified summer blockbuster movie that basically featured the Space Avengers. And although it does deliver on that front, I was actually pleasantly surprised by how much this movie tugged at the heartstrings. In the end, Guardians is a good way to kick off the summer movie season, and makes me a happy panda. If you like the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, chances are you'll probably like this one too. All the jokes and gags that you're constantly being bombarded with might not hit most of the time, but the emotional tone and character development along with the amazing visuals in the movie more than makes up for it. Anyways, thanks for watching guys, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it, and subscribe if you haven't already. It'll really help out the channel. Until next time! Panda out.